Hey guys, how are you? Flesh Between the Covers, back at it again with another yap session about another book. Today we're going to be talking about Kill Switch. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So excited. In case you couldn't tell. I'm very excited to talk about this book because throughout the Devil's Night series so far, all we've talked about is realistically like Damon being the problem and like his traumas and his life and why he is the way that he is. And we find out a lot about that in this one. A lot to unpack. But if you're new here, hi, I'm Blush Between the Covers. I do makeup and I yap about books at the same time. If you like a bit of yapping, if you like books, if you like makeup, hey, I'm the person for you. If you don't like makeup, that's okay. If you don't like books, that's okay. If you don't like yapping, that's not okay. Because that's the entirety of what we do. But if you actively hate books and you actively hate makeup, go sort that out. Don't take that out on me though. But like, go figure yourself out. Okay. If you're returning, hey bestie. Hey. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for hanging out. I'm super excited to talk about this book. So excited. Also, too, if you're returning, I moved things around in here. The whole room is reorganized, realigned, rearranged. I don't know, whatever. But my hair's already up and out of the way, so we can just jump right in. I'm very excited to talk about this book, and for good freaking reason. I feel like this one is the real meat and potatoes of the Devil's Night series so far. I have to stop doing that, man. I just before I even talk about this book, this primer, fantastic. Every time I want to open it, I twist it open like that, and oh, hi, just it's up here. But anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But freaking Devil's Night, man. Kill Switch. Let's freaking go. So this one, I guess you could say it's kind of enemies to lovers, but like not quite. You know, because I feel well, no, okay, yeah, yeah. It's enemies to lovers. Let's be real. Um, we get the perspectives of Damon, yay, and Winter Ashby, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, is there a lot of history between them. Okay, so it all starts off when Damon is 11 and Winter is 8. Um, Winter used to, well, no, still is a little dancer, little dancing girl. But she used to be part of Damon's mom's like dancing school. Okay. And Damon's parents used to have like these little parties um after recitals and stuff like that. And Winter and her parents, her mom, her dad, whatever, um, went to this party. Sorry, I'm just really making sure the primer's sticky. Went to this party and ooh, Winter can't find her mom, so she goes exploring and looking for her, and she can't seem to find her. But what she did stumble upon is Gabriel Torrance giving Damon a real talking to. Okay. And once Gabriel sees little Miss Winter, oh, I can't do anything else without a sponge. Hold on. Okay, I got my sponge. So, um, Gabriel sees Winter, searching about. Mm, well, kind of sneaking, um, sneaking and snooping. But he catches her, and Damon runs out the room, and he goes and he hides in the maze fountain garden area, whatever. So he's out there hiding, and Winter's still looking for her mom, but she goes and she is exploring outside too. So she ends up in the maze as well. And not Gabriel, Damon's mom is looking for him, but Winter sees that Damon is in the fountain just beyond. But she lies. She covers her little baby Damon. Um, she's like, nope, have not seen Damon. Who is Damon? Have no idea. You know, that new meme going around right now. That's like, I'm 40% blind in this age. That's how Winter is at this point. And nope, never mind. I'm not gonna spoil anything before it's too early. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything too early. But if you've already read this book, you already know. Um, probably what I was going to say. What not joke, slash joke I was going to make about that reference. Uh, so anyway, freaking Winter lies. And then she approaches Damon after his mom goes away, still looking for him or whatever. And she's like, "Hey, can I hang out with you? Can I sit with you? Because I don't know, you seem to be cool. Maybe I don't know. They're children. Um, I don't know what kids do or say or feel anymore. I haven't been a child in years. But Winter wants to hang out with him, and he's Damon still. you know, he's quiet, and not very sociable at this moment. But Winter sees that he is bleeding, so she's like, "Oh my goodness, are you hurt? Does it hurt? Whatever." Um, and she offers to assist, but at the same time too, she's like, I'll go away. I seem to be like bothering you, so I'll just go." And in that moment, Damon's like, "No, you can stay, you can hang out, whatever," but like in not so many words. Because at this point too, Damon's still like quiet, not really saying anything, and Winter's just the one yapping. So Damon lets her, hang out with him in the fountain, and she introduces him to a different way to deal with pain. So she's like, "Here, give me your finger," and she bites his finger. Um, because your body can only process one instance of pain at a time. So if there's two going on, it kind of like numbs everything out. So Damon teaches no, Winter teaches Damon that. There we go. That's the correct thing. Winter teaches Damon that strategy. Um, because her dad taught her that. Her dad's also the mayor. Griffin Ashby is the freaking mayor of Thunder Bay. So that's important. That's an important note to go over. Um Also, too, if we go back to corrupt, um, the first Devil's Night that we learn about, and the one that sends them to jail, um, we remember that Damon pulled his prank by, going and sleeping with the daughter of the mayor. And at that time she was underage. So just, you know, keep all this in mind. That's why he went to jail. Among like other things. But that's what, you know, signed, sealed, and delivered him to jail. So, um, Winter's dad taught her that, method of getting rid of pain. And yeah, she passed it on to Damon. Sorry, I'm retracing my steps because I am everywhere. And he's like, oh, cool. So now he applies this to like all of the pain and stuff that he feels. So like when his mom is assaulting him, um, he takes it out then in the form of pain. So, you know, Damon will have Banks hurt him or he will hurt himself. Some type of pain, any type of pain, um, physical, verbal, etc., etc. So, um, he takes this lesson and applies it to everything in his life. But after a while, um, Damon warms up and he's like, "Hey, you wanna go hang out in my treehouse?" She's like, "Okay, cool." So Damon takes Winter to the treehouse, and it's pretty high up, man. You know, I've never been in a treehouse before. That would scare me. I don't really like heights like that. I don't mind roller coasters, but I hate ladders and I hate like even step stools. They scare me. Any height that I control scares me. Okay, but this isn't about me. So Winter's a little scared, but Damon's like, no, 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 no. It's okay. I'll be right behind you. So she goes up and they're hanging out up there, and she's like, "Wow, this is really cool." And they're overseeing everything. They can see, the water, the party, everything. And Winter's dad ends up coming out and ruining their fun. And he's like, "Hey, we gotta go. We gotta go now." And Damon's like, "Heck no!" Little 11-year-old Damon's like, "We were just having fun. We were just hanging out. Why are you gonna go and ruin it?" She doesn't want to go. Um, and Winter doesn't want to go. She's like, "No, I was just enjoying hanging out with Damon." But Griffin Ashby is like, "No, no, 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 no. We have to go right this instant, right now." And um, a little kerfuffle happens, and Winter ends up falling out of the freaking treehouse. Ends up falling, and on her way down, she ends up blinding herself. So fast forward to not quite now, but a couple years after. I'm gonna tell this like chronologically instead of like going back and forth between um all of the different timelines. I'm just gonna tell it all as it happens in order. Okay. So fast forward to like high school, because that's where we go next from here. So fast forward to high school. It is Damon's senior year, and he is no, yes, yes. It's Damon's senior year, and Winter is a freshman coming in to the school. But she was just in Montreal for like 5 years. Makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to think of like the age that you got to be in high school. Anyway, at this point, uh, Winter, sorry, was in Montreal for 5 years, going to school there and like dealing with being blind. And she finally wanted to, come home and try to simulate to, you know, Thunder Bay and like having, I don't want to say normal friends, but like people her age and, of all abilities and whatnot. She didn't want to just be around blind people in Montreal anymore. I mean, that's cool too. But you know, she's a kid. She wants to have different types of friends and whatever. So she wants to come back, and in doing so, she comes across Damon. And this is a big freaking deal because she blames him for her being blind. She, in her head, is like, he pushed me. He pushed me down the treehouse, and that is why I'm blind. But that ain't what happened. But that's what she's convinced herself, and like everybody else pretty much is convinced of that too. Um, like the Ashbys and whatever. Um, so they're all convinced that Damon pushed her, so they want Damon to stay as far away from her as possible. And he's like, heck no. Because Damon has a little crushy poo on Winter and has since that freaking day in the fountain, okay? He, well, he smooched her then when they were little. Um, but he was like, we will smooch again in the future, okay? And he has had a thing for her from that moment forward. But like I said, Winter hates him. She, no, he is a no on her freaking list because, again, he thinks he's the reason why she's blind, why she went blind. Because it all happened because she was up in his treehouse and it all went down, um, as he was defending her to, like, not go home, whatever. So, the Ashbys request that, Damon stays away from her. And if he does not, they will get a restraining order. So, what does Damon do? Not stay away from her. Let's be, let's be for real here. So Damon does not stay away from Winter. Um, in fact, he does quite the opposite and does a lot to be around Winter, literally all the time. So, um, Damon finds out that Winter is back in Thunder Bay and going to school with him, because little Rika Fane is the one that is going to be helping Winter, um, as she comes back into Thunder Bay and like gets used to everything at Thunder Bay prep. So, um, he finds that out and uses that kind of to his advantage in a way. Um, not the fact so much that it's Rika, but like, you know, that he knows who's you know, the one showing her around and all that. So a couple things go down. The first is hustle and bustle in the hallway. Um, and Winter gets pushed into the boys' locker room. And all the boys are like, hey, baby, what are you doing in here? Blah, blah, blah. This is the boys' room. Um, and then they're like, oh, she's blind. And Damon steps up and, you know, like, being his Damon self, and poking fun and whatever. But also, gets her the hell out of there. So that happens, and she's like, ew, Damon Torrance, get the hell away from me. And then they're in lunch, and Damon comes over again, and he is bothering her. And she's like, dude, stop freaking bothering me. And then another instance happens where the freaking fire alarm goes off when Winter uh, goes into the library unattended because she was told Rika, that she would just meet up with her after. That Rika didn't need to stay with her. Well, lo and behold, the freaking fire alarm goes off, and she's screwed. She's by herself. Um, and everybody can see the exit and can evacuate, but Winter cannot because she doesn't know where she's going. So all this happens, and she's in there by herself. But you know who's also in there? Damon. Because he freaking set the GD fire alarm off and stayed inside and waited so that he could freaking have Winter alone. So he's there bothering her, talking to her, and she's like, dude, get the hell away from me. I don't like you. You're not good. You're not safe. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, well, whatever. But the freaking Dean comes in and he's like, get the heck away from her. Blah, 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 blah. All that, goes down. And, again, they threaten him with a restraining order. And Damon doesn't care. It doesn't stop him. Nothing stops Damon. Friggin' nothing. He stops at nothing. But they freaking yell at him so that he leaves her alone. But again, nothing comes of that. And then Winter's sister, Orion, Orion, they call her Ari, freaking decides to have a party, like a little pool party, because her parents are away. Normal teenage rascal things. Parents aren't home. Let's have a little party, a little get together, a little rager. So Orion has his pool party, and clearly, obviously, she's gonna invite the freaking horsemen. So, um, Michael, Will, Damon, and Kai are all at this party. And Winter typically sticks to, you know, the house and like being inside. But she comes out and she is like, Orion, where's the little like winter thing that I want? I can't think of what exactly it was, but it was just like, winter decoration type thing. So she comes out and she's asking Orion for that, and Orion is right around Damon. And, she's like, no, dude, like, go freaking ask mom when she gets home. I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to get it, or, like, she knows it's in the basement, whatever, but she doesn't want to go get it right now. She's having a little party. She's trying to get her freak on with Damon. And Damon's not interested. Why? Because he freaking likes Winter. He doesn't like Orion. Um, so, Winter gives up. She's like, all right, whatever. Like, maybe he'll get it for me later. But Orion's trying to, get Damon. And Damon's like, you know what? I'm more of a watcher. So how about you fool around with this guy that's got a girlfriend and I'll watch. So naturally, Orion does because he's like, well, if that's what you like, that's what I'll do. So Orion goes and messes around with this guy that's got a girlfriend. But as she's doing that, Damon doesn't care. Damon dips. And he goes inside. He lets himself inside. Um, right after Winter, and Winter's got the house locked up. So she is like the only person that can get in here is Orion. Everybody else has to stay outside. Everyone else has to stay outside, and the only person, that knows where the keys are and can get in is Orion. But clearly, that's not the case because freaking Damon gets inside the house. But he's just a sneaky guy and he, just slips in right after her. So Damon slips in after her, and Winter thinks that she's, alone, she's safe, whatever. But um Damon is there a creepin', and he makes his presence known, and she kind of freaks. She's like, oh my god, who are you? Are you gonna hurt me? whatever. And Damon's like, probably. I'll probably hurt you, but not right now, not today, not at this moment. And she's scared. She's freaking out a little bit. And you know, Damon also is whispering too, so she doesn't figure out that it's him. And also too, because he just came out the pool, he doesn't have his signature scent of cloves and tobacco. So she has no idea that it's him. His scent doesn't give him away, and his voice doesn't give him away, because again, he's hush hush. He's whispering. So Winter's kind of like aroused by this mysterious stranger that breaks in, and as he's in the house with her, Winter's parents come home, and they are arguing freaking big time, um, to the point where like it has Winter upset. Big upsetty freaking spaghetti. Okay. But her and Damon are hiding in this closet. And Damon has her freaking like mouth covered in like shush, be quiet. And they're just listening to this argument go on. And it is a serious, serious argument. So Winter's parents are arguing about freaking infidelity because both of them are, out there being floozies. Griffin Ashby is cheating with his like assistant or whatever, and freaking what the fuck is her name? Margaret, something. I don't know. Winter's mom is having an affair with like well, fucking everybody, but mainly probably still Gabriel Torrance, because she was having an affair with him all those years ago at that little soiree. And Griffin found out, so he was pissed, and that's why everybody had to go home at that point. So they're arguing about that, and Winter's sad because she has no idea. She's like, I've never heard them be like this before, so what the heck? And Damon pulls her close. He's like, it's okay. So she's like, you're going from wanting to hurt me 1 second to like comforting me now? Oh, okay. Sure. Whatever. So that happens. She ends up it's like falling asleep in the closet, if I remember correctly. Um and Damon ends up, obviously leaving. Um and she ends up in her bed. I know that much. Um she ends up coming to in her room the next day, the next morning. Um, and what does she see when she, gets out of her room or like, out of bed and out of her room? Well, actually, she doesn't see anything. Yeah, doesn't see anything. But, um, she she discovers. Sorry, that's really horrible of me. But anyway, um, she she comes to find the little winter thing that she, wanted Orion to look for. So she's looking for her sister, and her sister's still going on about the frickin' Winter thing. Um, Not Winter the person, but like Winter object thing that Winter was looking for. Um, and she's like, blah 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 blah. Mean sister things, I guess. Um, so Winter's like, okay, well, guess Orion didn't get it for me. So that means my mom must have. So then she goes to, say something to her mom about it. And she didn't get it for Winter either. So Winter's like, okay, this kind stranger must have freaking gotten it for, well, kind stranger. The freaking guy that broke into my house yesterday, he must have gotten it for me, but like, how the hell would he have known? So that's weird. But time goes on, and Damon continues to, let himself into the house and skulk around and be mysterious. So he continues to do so, and trying to figure out a color story here. I think I'll do this one. So Damon continues to, come around and like stuck winter essentially. But not really. But he's breaking in every now and then, and he's taken winter on some journeys. Okay, like he freaking takes her driving. He's blind, but he lets her drive his freaking car. I'm just gonna leave it at that. He lets her drive his car. Um, you know, but she's living for it. Again, he is disguising himself. Well, taking showers and stuff before he goes and sees her so he doesn't smell like his cigarettes, and also talking in a hushed tone so that she can't figure it out um through his voice. So all of this is going on. He's taking her on all these adventures and stuff like that. He took her out on a freaking motorcycle. Um, and she's describing things to him through like colors. She can't obviously see, but she's like, this feels like, you know, black. This feels like purple. This feels like red, blah, blah, blah. So he takes her out on all these, you know, little excursions. But then one day he just disappears. And that's just because he went to college. So he goes away for like, I don't know, 2 years. And then obviously the time that he's back from college, he pays her a visit. She's like, oh my goodness, my little sucker, I thought that you were gone forever. I thought that you'd lost interest, because at this point too, she's like enamored with him. Not knowing that it's him, but she's like super duper in love with him, or the idea of him and who the heck he could be. So she is all excited now that her stalker is back. And he didn't die, he didn't lose interest, whatever, he was just away. But Damon knows that, he has to not freaking be around her. She's a minor compared to him. She's 16 and he's 18, 19 at this time. So like it's not an ideal situation. Um, because he's more mature, and it could be seen as him taking advantage of her, A, because she's young, and B, because she's blind. But Damon is treating her how, he wants to. How he feels like she should be treated, because she's, I don't know, the freaking love of his life. So he's treating her, you know, how he wants to, and how she deserves to be treated. As a person, as a, I guess, kind of girlfriend, but like not really, because they're not dating. But yeah. So things escalate obviously over time. Um, and her and Damon end up freaking it. Okay. Um, Damon takes her V card, and yeah, that's that's a big thing. Imagine freaking not knowing realistically, like who took your virginity. Like having being blind and having an idea of who, but like really not. That's scary. That's scary. But whatever. Uh, so while Damon's doing this though, he's got the freaking phone, the phone that the guys use to record their pranks because he doesn't have his phone at the time. So he had the group phone and he was just, she said take a picture, but he took a video, and that video really came back to bite him in the buns. That's for sure. Because once it freaking leaked, it was all over, man. Freaking all heck broke loose. Um, but after their little shower incident and whatnot, the video obviously gets leaked because Trevor leaks it. Um, and Damon is with Winter when this happens. Um, it's the morning and her phone's blown up and his phone's blown up, and they're both like, what the frick is going on? But Damon obviously can see. So he is like, oh no, oh no, 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 no. And Winter's like, what? What's going on? Damon's like, nothing. Nothing at all. And then frickin' Griffin Ashby comes into the room and the dean comes into our room. Why the dean is there, you won't really know. Because like it's the morning. Why why are you there? But whatever. Um so Griffin comes in and the dean comes in and they're like, dude, you're going to jail. Get out. And Winter's like, what is going on? Who are you talking to? What? And Griffin's like, do you know who this is? Do you know who you were in that video with? And she's like, no. They're like, it's freaking Damon Torrance. She's like mortified at this point because she feels duped. She feels, like he tricked her. He lied about who he was. But he, in Damon's defense, Damon didn't say he was anybody this entire time. He was just a heckin' stranger guy. He's just a mysterious stranger. But you know, Damon didn't feed her realistically any lies. He just omitted who he was, like name wise. But he is like, what the frick? And she is like, what the frick? Get out. I hate you. I hope you. Um, so then, yeah, Damon goes to jail for freaking doing the nasty with, Winter. And then again, she claims, it was grape because, she didn't know who he was and blah blah blah. And everybody's like, well, it's not grape if you enjoyed it. Like clearly you consented. And she's like, no, I didn't consent to Damon Torrance up in my guts. Um, but everybody in the town is pretty 50-50 on the matter. Because there's the people that are like, well, girl, you couldn't have not known. And then there's the people that are like, well, how was she supposed to know? Um, but whatever. So now we pretty much fast forward to the present. Um, oh, and also Winter ends up being like shipped back to Montreal because everything. That was fun. But now we flash forward to the present. Um, Griffin Ashby out of the freaking picture because he got caught for embezzling. Yeah, he got caught for embezzling, and who provided that information to incriminate him? Damon Torrance. But Damon was not alone. Damon had a little assistance. And who do we think? Who do we think assisted Damon? Hmm? Arcafane. What? They're working together. Because Damon has information that Rika needs, wants, um, whatever that pertains to her family, um, her dad, whatever. Because it turns out that Gabriel Torrance, um, had a hand in her father's death. But, he didn't act alone. So they're trying to figure out what is going on. What are the pieces of this puzzle that they don't have? Um, and also to Evans Christ. Evans Christ and Gabriel Torrance had Erica Fane's father killed essentially. Um, because they cut the brakes on the car. Um, or they had somebody do it, you know. Sorry. Um, but they had him killed, and they were like not obviously planning for Rika to be in the car. But she was, so they almost killed her too. So she's big freaking mad, naturally, obviously. But they need to figure out why Gabriel is involved. Like what the hell he had to do with anything because you know, um Evans Christ, Michael's father had I don't want to say reason, but like, there was motive for him to kill um Trader Fane because he was going to be the freaking word, dude. I forgot it the first video. I don't forget it now. I don't know. Power of attorney? Yeah. For everything of the Fanes until Rika came of age. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. So he held that power until Rika became of age, and at that point too, he could like twist her and manipulate her into being with Trevor, and then everything essentially would be his anyway, and like the Christ families. So he had plenty of reason, but like, what was Gabriel Torrance's reason? And that is what Rika and Damon are trying to figure out. So, Damon weasels his way into the Ashbys after this and comes up with an agreement with ooh sorry um yeah dude, hold on, this is nice, dude. All right. Comes up with an agreement where Orion Ashby has to be married to him for a year and give him children and everything like that. Um, and he will provide for the family and they can continue to live in their home and everything like that. But you know, she has to be married to him. And why not Winter? He's got other plans for her, okay? So Damon marries Orion, and while he's married to Orion, he makes sure that Winter is under freaking lock and key, dude. Lock and key. Sorry, I can't do this little fucking brow hairs without being 2 inches away from the mirror. So, Winter is like, heck no. So she gets her friend Ethan to come pick her up. She's like, Ethan, come pick me up. I'm scared. Um, and as they're going down the road, cops pull him over. She's like, what the heck? Like, you weren't speeding. I could feel that you weren't speeding. So, like, what the heck is going on? And the cops clearly are on Gabriel Torrance's payroll. Because they're like, we gotta search the car. There's drugs in your car. And then she's like, dude, what? What the frick? I don't drugs in my car? Um, so you know, they're like, yeah. And Winter's like, no, 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 no. Um, my friend does not have drugs in his car. No. I will cooperate. I will go back, to the house. Just leave him alone. Leave him out of it. So they let him go. But Ethan ends up getting. If ends up what? Ethan eventually ends up getting caught and exposed by Damon for having like risque pictures of Winter, and Winter is upset at this point because she's like, what? That feels a little gross of you to have. So she ends up kind of cutting Ethan off, like, no, no, nay, nay, sir, nay, nay. I'm not about that. Um, and yeah, dude, Damon has her on lock, though. Hello, why did this just explode? Anyway, now that that crisis has been averted, Damon has Winter like on lock and key, and you know, obviously, so does Gabriel Torrance. They are like very in charge of everything that Winter does or doesn't do. Um, and Damon ends up sending Orion and Winter's mom away. Um, you know, on his honeymoon that he doesn't attend, just so that he could have Winter to himself. And then he ended up freaking it, you know, naturally. And Rika is like, dude, leave Winter alone. What the hell? Like, do not bother this girl. And Damon's like, yeah, okay, sure. So Rika sends Will to the house to teach Winter some self-defense. And Damon's like, that's cute. That's not gonna work though. So whatever. Rika's just trying to help a girl out. But Winter ends up, you know, in the end realizing that Damon's really not that bad. You know, Damon actually sorry. Damon actually like loved her the whole time and like wasn't lying, you know? Um he he didn't even really lie about who he was. He just didn't tell her who he was. And, you know, he's like, what do you actually remember about the freaking day in the fountain? And she's retracing her steps And she comes to realize that Damon didn't push her. Like that was kind of something that was fed to her to keep her away from him. And she is like, dude, I've been hating Damon for what? For nothing. And uh, you know, she's like, okay, well, guess what? I love Damon Torrance. Whoa, crazy. Um, and then dude, a bunch of like really crazy stuff happens. I'm like just realizing that now as I'm talking about this. So freaking Damon ends up in the hospital. I don't remember why. I don't know. That doesn't matter. I mean, it does. It's integral to the story, but whatever. Damon ends up in the hospital. Um, and freaking Winter's there, and she's like all huddled up, and not leaving his side, and the rest of the horsemen are there to make sure he pulls through. Oh, he ends up getting stabbed. That's what happened. He gets stabbed um by oh my freaking god. Some dickhead. Um from Corrupt. I can't think of his name, but he was going to essay Rika um and Winter um years ago. Um I want to say his name starts with an A. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But that guy, he ends up stabbing Damon, and he works for Gabriel Torrance, because now Gabriel and Damon are on the freaking outs. Okay, Gabriel's like, dude, you suck, and your friends suck, and I don't like any of you. um, so sorry, this is really, really hard to do. Um, but Gabriel ends up, putting like a hit out, and as Damon's in the hospital, freaking Gabriel has Michael and Winter kidnapped. Crazy. Dude, like I said, these books are wild. So Gabriel has them kidnapped. And then, obviously Rika, Will, Kai, and Damon go in and jailbreak them. Oh, and Banks. Banks was there too. Honorable mention to Banks, our queen. Um, but they have like a breakout plan for them. So they end up getting them out. Will almost drowns again because they're in their little getaway car, and it's Damon and Will and Winter in the car, and then Rika and Michael are in a separate car with you know Kai and Banks. I'm gonna use a water activated liner just in case anybody was curious. This is what she looks like. Um, so they are in like a high speed chase and um against that guy. I can't think of his freaking name and it's gonna bother me and I'll end up thinking about it, you know, when I'm not filming anymore. So they end up in a high speed chase and then they end up going over the bridge before St. Killian's, because that's where they're headed. They're headed to St. Killian's to meet up, with Rika and Michael. So they are in the water, and Will, he's almost drowned before, so he's freaking out. But Damon gets both Will and Winter to safety, and they make it to um, the whatchamacallit. They make it to the freaking catacombs. Um, and they, need to rest and shower and everything like that. But Will is a little freaked out still. Um, so he is, in his head, and he needs to calm down and whatever. Um, but Winter is there for him, and Damon is there for him, whatever. Um, and they all end up having a grand old time together. Use your imagination. Um, so, whoop, they all end up, having their little time. Um, and the following day, uh, everybody reunited and they go over their game plan for Devil's Night because Devil's Night is upon them. Um, so they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go and get frickin' revenge on Gabriel Torrance, and we're gonna, beat him up. Just kidding. Well, I don't know. I don't actually know what the plan was there, but they were gonna, confront him. Um, so they do. They go with their little plan. And they're throwing colored little smoke bombs all around, and they're getting everybody hype for Devil's Night. I don't know why I had such a hard time fucking remembering that. Um, yeah. So they're getting everybody hype for Devil's Night, and then they're gonna go inside the um, White Dove, like a little tavern that Gabriel frequents every Devil's Night. So they're like, no fail, he'll be there. And sure enough, he was. But then, obviously they're like, how do we get him alone? So they come out with a game plan for that. Um, and everything just goes so south, so fast. Okay, because fucking cats come out of the bag during this. Um, like it gets bananas, dude. Freaking bananas. So Gabriel is all like, "Ew, Damon, you think you're so cool, you're so tough. You and your friends are nothing." Um, and sure, yeah, I had Schrader Fane killed. Um, because it was going to benefit you, or me rather. But Gabriel's like, yeah, I helped. I had Trader Fane killed. Um, with Evan's Chris. And guess what? Your sisters, Laurel, Laurel, um, they're gonna get everything and you're gonna get nothing. And he's like, sisters? I only have Banks. What are you talking about? And that's when the freaking bomb drops that freaking Rika and Damon are siblings. And, technically, Banks is Rika's sister now too. Um, because they all share a parent. Um, well, Rika is not Gabriel's, but boy, the lineage on this one, okay? So, Gabriel Torrance ends up raping, Rika's mom, and Um, they, well, not they. The Fanes were trying to have a child before then, but it wasn't really working out. And then Gabriel came and he raped um Christiane Fane, and Damon was conceived um from this, and basically Christiane gave birth to him, and he immediately took Damon away because he was not going to have another man raise his son. Maybe you shouldn't have done what you did in the first place, but like, who am I? Um, so he takes Damon away, and then Damon's pissed because he's like, well, Christiane should have put up a fight for me. Like, what the hell? I got freaking abused by a woman that I thought was my mother. And, my real mother was only right down the street the whole time, watching another woman, you know, raise me and blah blah blah. But it all kind of made sense why Christiane could like never really look at him, or wouldn't stare at him for too long, or whatever. So like the pieces of the puzzle start coming together, and everybody's like, what are they talking about? Because Damon and Gabriel are like right here, and everybody else is back there. Um, so they don't really know what's going on too much. Um, but everybody ends up finding out. And Damon then kills Gabriel. He's like, pew, stab, stab, whatever. he ends up killing his dad. And everybody's like, you weren't supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to do that. But he's like, well, I did. And Gabriel had left everything to Banks. And yeah, yeah. So Gabriel left everything to Banks, and now Damon has nothing, and he killed his dad. So after everything is all said and done, um, you know, Banks ends up, you know, giving Winter and Damon Ashby House. Um, Even though Damon's like, dude, I don't I don't want your charity, sister of mine. But she's like, well, I don't want Winter to be homeless. So, um, everything within Ashby House and Ashby House itself was Banks's to, you know, do something with now. And, Banks isn't a bitch. She's she's got a heart. So she, you know, gives them the house and everything like that. And Damon annuls his marriage with Orion, and him and Winter are now together. And Damon's like, well, I have to freaking make a living of my own now. I ain't living off of daddy's money. I don't want any part of it. Um, yeah, I had a lot to say about that. Yeah, he's like, I don't want any part of it. Blah blah blah. So Damon ends up making this grand gesture and builds a really awesome fountain for Winter that is a maze. It's a fountain maze, and um this guy, can't think of his name at the moment, but he calls. He's like, hey, um, so I'd seen like the cool things that you've made, because Damon also made a treehouse, made the fountain in a treehouse. Um, so the guy calls and he's like, "Hey, long shot for sure. But I was wondering if you could make a cool freaking treehouse for my kid." And Damon's like, "Hell no. Like, goodbye." And Winter's like, "Dude, that was a sign like for you." Because Damon had a really awesome time building, well, drawing and then building um, the fountain and the treehouse and everything like that. Like he is a cool little architect guy. Because he's never gonna have a basketball career like Michael. So Damon ends up creating his own building construction, there we go, service, where they make really cool things and make money doing it. And at the end of this too, Winter is gonna have a baby. So that's cool. Um, Winter ends up pregnant, and that is the end of Kill Switch. But now, now we go into freaking Conclave. So, Winter ends up having the baby. Yay! She gives birth to a boy, Iverson, and Damon ends up coming home from a little trip, doing a job somewhere. It doesn't matter. Location doesn't matter. But Damon went away, and has now come back, and he comes in pissed because Winter's ignoring him, whatever. Um, and she's out in the pool and she's nude, and you know Damon's got bodyguards looking after her and whatever when he's not there, and the bodyguard's like obviously outside watching her in the pool nude dancing. Because Winter is a dancer. Yeah, it's not. Oh, I mean, I touched on it when she was a kid, but she's still a dancer even though she's blind. And she does a dance at Michael and Rika's engagement party, and they end up like creating her own little tour, um, little dancing tour, so that she can live her dreams of being a little dancer. And I think that's really cute and cool. But that's not that's besides the point. So she's out there practicing in the nude, and Damon gets in the pool, and she's ignoring him, and he's like, "What did I do wrong?" And she's not talking, and he's like, "Well, guess I'm gonna have to freak it out of you." Um, so he ends up freaking her in the pool. Um, and then she ends up piping up, and she's like, "Well, I'm mad at you because you were right." And we're like, "What?" She's pregnant again. So yeah, they have a young little baby, and now they've got another one on the way. Yay! So after they're all done with that, Damon's like, "Where's my kid?" And so she's like, "Well, not here." He's like, "What does that mean?" So Rika picked up Iverson and took him to her mom's house. Um, so Damon goes there and he's like, and whatever. He's like, "Dude, we need to have a meeting and everything like that." This is, I'm telling this, not really quite in order. Um, but they're at Christiane's house, and um he's like, "Well, maybe we'll make this work. But we're not mending this relationship right away. I'll let you maybe prove that you could be a great grandparent. But you're a shitty parent either way." So there's that. But Damon ends up um, telling Rika that they should have a conclave, and she's like, uh, like like the freaking cardinals do when they're trying to figure out who the new pope is. And Dan's like, yeah, a meeting where we just throw everything out on the table, and you know, nothing gets held back. We all go out and have a chat until everything is done. Rick is like, okay, well, I guess. So they end up having this conclave meeting, and um, Will is not part of it. Will is gone. Will has been gone for a minute, okay, like a year at this point, because he was in like Fiji or something like that. I don't know, he was somewhere tropical, and he was having the time of his life, and he was sending everybody, pictures, videos, and was FaceTiming them and texting them, and then he just disappeared. So they're like, we have to find out where Will is. It's a little weird. We don't know where he is. He hasn't said anything to anybody in like 13 months. Where is he? So the conclave meeting goes on about Will, and Rika has something that she needs to freaking get off her chest. Big, pretty big. Um, so they have this meeting, and the first freaking thing that you know, comes out as soon as they sit down at the table is Rika saying that she wants to kill Evan's Christ. She's like, I want to kill your dad. And she's like, I'm not going to, but I want to. And while she's on that topic, she's like, and I don't want your last name when we get married. I'm like, girl, my goodness. Um, so um Ricky Michael's like, well, my kids are gonna have like the same last name as you, and whatever. And she's like, and they will. We're all gonna be the Fanes. Who's not having it? He's like, dude, no. And also too, Rika's like holding back another thing, and Kai knows about it. She can't have kids, so she's like holding this back from Michael because she doesn't want to disappoint him and have him like leave her because he can't have what he wants. So she ends up dropping that bomb with him later on, um, because he sees her and Kai like hugging, um, because Kai knows, and he asked her if she had brought it up to him yet, and she's like, nope. But when she does, Michael goes away and like brooding for a little bit, but then she goes and looks for him, and he like, dude, I don't care if you can't have kids. Like, we'll have them if you want them, in any way, shape, or form. Like, we'll figure it out if you want that. So she's like, over the moon, so happy, crying, blah blah blah. She's like, I love you, and he's like, I love you, and they're all freaking it, and everybody's freaking it in front of each other. Naturally, as one does in this freaking series. Um, so they're all having the time of their lives, uh, and that's basically it. Also during the meeting, like I said, they talk about having to find Will, and Alex is like, I will be a spy for you, and I will uh figure out where Will is, because I think that he's in Black Church, and guess what? He is. And we've heard Black Church be mentioned a few times in the Devil's Night series, because Gabriel would always threaten Damon with it, and you know clearly he didn't go. But Will went. Will's there. Uh, in black churches like this, prison, uh, upscale prison, really, um, for wayward rich boys, to get their crap figured out and not embarrass, uh, their families. It's a good way to make them disappear quietly and not have them killed, but also they can reform in the meantime. But they don't know where it is. Nobody knows really where Black Church is. You just get sent there. And then supposedly they constantly are moving locations and stuff like that. But um they're like, well, the only thing that we can think of is Will's grandfather's reelection is coming up because Will's grandfather is a senator. So they're thinking that they had Will sent to go get clean so that he couldn't embarrass his grandfather, um, for his reelection again. So they end up coming up with a plan to rescue Will, and Rika airs her grievances, and that is Conclave. And next we'll finish up with Nightfall. And I don't think we're gonna talk about Firelight. It's really like it's not really integral. It's if you want to know where the story could end up and like use your imagination to figure out the storyline further. But there's not going to be any more books. Um, but meh, meh, it's not integral. So anyway, that was Kill Switch and Conclave. I have to set my face. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed. um, this one is slightly more organized than the last one, and I know that this went on for quite some time, so I apologize that this is a long one, but there was a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, and I cut out a lot of things too. So, but I gave you the important things. Um, Damon is Rika's brother because Gabriel raped Christiane. Damon is not the reason that Winter went blind. Damon and Winter are in love, and they kind of always have been. That's why at the beginning I was like, hey, it's not quite enemies to lovers, but like it is, because like they both were in love with each other. But she did not love him, knowing that it was him. Odd thing. Yeah. Um, Gabriel and Evans Christ are the ones that killed Critter Fane, Erica's dad. And Will's in Black Church, and we'll pick that up in the next book. Yay! Um, yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for hanging out. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. That's okay. But I hope to see you in the next one. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.